Good afternoon and welcome to Feed Yourself Well. It's good to be back. We took a nice 3-week break, which I really enjoyed, and we're going to kick off this season with a pumpkin recipe. That's right, pumpkin. We're right around the corner from Halloween, so we might as well make it count while we're in fall. So, in this bowl, I've got 3 pounds of roasted pumpkin. I took a pumpkin, cut it in half, took the seeds out, drizzled with a little bit of olive oil, roasted it in a hot oven, 350 for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, to get it fork tender. You should be able to flake the pumpkin away with a fork, and that's how you know that you're actually ready to start using it. So this has been roasted, and again, it's 3 pounds of pumpkin here. I had a huge pumpkin, so I probably got another 8 pounds left. It was a lot of pumpkin, but 3 is going to be used in the soup. The other ingredients that we're going to put in this Caribbean style pumpkin soup, which I'm a huge fan of, is diced onions. I've got some garlic that I just kind of peeled and smashed. That's going to get sauteed together. A little curry powder. I've got 2 teaspoons of curry powder that I'm going to add to that. Some butter to sweat everything out. Finish with lime juice, a little white pepper, and of course some salt, and we'll do some grated nutmeg right over the top before it's ready to go. We're also going to use some chicken stock to add some body and volume to our dish as well, and we'll finish it with a little bit of cream and milk. So I'm excited. Let's get started. All right, so I'm starting with the hot pan, and to that I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of butter and just let it melt. That's all I want to do. I'm going to sweat my vegetables out in the butter, and our pan is nice and hot. I'm going to do the butter, garlic, and onion all at the same time. So that's 1 diced onion, 3 large cloves of garlic that I'm just going to sweat and let cook. I don't want to pick up a lot of color. I don't want to caramelize my vegetables. I just want to sweat them out and soften them some so they become nice and translucent and tender. To this, I'm going to add a bouquet of herbs, and it's just a little bit of fresh thyme, parsley, and a bay leaf. And that's going to add some flavor also. Looks good. Let's add a pinch of salt to this. About a half a teaspoon or so of white pepper. I'm not using black pepper because I don't want the pepper flakes to float around in the soup. I want the soup to be one solid color. And in goes my 2 teaspoons of curry powder. I want that to toast while the vegetables are cooking as well. It's going to release a lot more flavor. The fat helps pull out the aromatics from the curry powder. Looking good. It's doing just what we want it to do. Lastly, I'm going to add some chicken stock to this. Calls for 4 cups of chicken stock. I've got a 32-ounce container, and that's going to be more than enough to get this going. This is a recipe that we're going to actually finish in a blender. So we're going to puree the pumpkin down till it's nice and smooth, and then we're going to add these vegetables to it, get it going, blend everything together, and then we're going to finish it with a little bit of cream. I'm going to let this come to a full simmer for about 10 minutes or so. Okay, so our aromatics have simmered together, and we've made a nice broth with chicken stock, onion, garlic, thyme, parsley, and bay leaf. We added our curry powder, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of white pepper. And to this, I'm going to stir in 1 teaspoon of it's super hot Scotch bonnet pepper sauce. That's the Caribbean swing we're gonna put on it. Right in. The sauce is called Bumba sauce. It's got great flavor. Really packs a punch. A little goes a long way, but really, really good. Okay, so the next steps we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to our station and we're gonna get our pumpkin pureed and add in this broth. Okay, so our Vitamix blender is gonna be the star of the show, and I'm gonna grab that roasted pumpkin, and I'm gonna actually do this in 2 batches. So I'm gonna add half of this in now with half of our broth that we made. I did discard the herbs. They've done their job. I don't wanna process those down, but they can go out of your way. You won't need them. Okay, so we've got pumpkin in. Now we're going to add some of this hot stock. And once we get it pureed down nice and smooth, we're going to return it to the pot, put it back on the stove, and then we're going to slowly add our cream and finish the soup up. So let's get a couple nice scoops of stock and onions. It smells really good. Definitely a keeper. Okay, now can you use canned pumpkin? Yes, you can. Can you use butternut squash, acorn squash? Yes, just keep the ratios the same. You need about 3 pounds to do this recipe. So you can substitute other ingredients, but you wanna make sure that you've got the right ratios and you'll be good to go. There we go. And let's go to soup and on. Does all the work for you. And we'll stop. We're going to add that to the pot. And we'll repeat with our other batch. So right back on. All the remainder of the pumpkin goes in. Let's add the remainder of the stock. And done. Top back on, and we'll blitz away. Nice and smooth. You want your soup to be super smooth. And stop. All right. It's good and hot. All that back in. I'm going to take this pot, put it back on a very low flame, and we'll stir in our cream and finish with a little bit of nutmeg. We'll taste, adjust for salt if we need to, but we're going to finish cooking on the stove. All right, so our soup is just staying warm. It's on a very low flame. To this, I'm going to add 1 cup of half and half. That's my milk, and I'm going to add a little bit of heavy cream. About a 1/4 cup or so will do it. And you just stir all that in. Looks good. It's got a nice sheen to it, super rich. Now I am going to juice half a lime right into it. So that's lime juice. It's nice and fresh going in. And I've got a whole nutmeg that I'm just going to finely grate a little bit. You don't want more than about a 1/4 teaspoon tops. Little nutmeg or mace go a very long way. Okay, so that's our soup. It's done. I'm gonna head back over and we're gonna plate this up and taste it. Caribbean style pumpkin soup done. Looks amazing. Let's dish some up. How to use a ladle. When you're using a ladle, don't hold it way back here. Choke up and hold it closer to the base. You can control the bowl better. So when you go in, you'll get a better scoop and you can have more dimension when pouring it. Also, once you do scoop out what you want, touch the bottom one time back in the liquid. It'll stop it from dripping. That way you won't have a big mess when you're ladling out your soup. Also, only fill the bowl 2/3 of the way. If you put too much soup in the bowl, just makes a mess, sloshes all around. You can always go back and get more. When you eat the soup, always spoon away, never to. If you pull it towards you, chances of you splashing it, pretty high. So scoop away before you taste it. Perfect for a late October night, easy supper, really good. Remember, turn on your notifications, subscribe, and feed yourself well.